More than half of the work is done, and athletes who love grit and classic CrossFit rose to the top. Moving day started to shift up the leaderboard. Welcome to the Desert City Cool Down Show. I'm Lauren Khalil. Day 2 kept a handful of familiar names at the top of the leaderboard, but the order of where those athletes ended the day is where we saw the shifts. The afternoon kicked off on the Tempe Tourism stage for elites with a mix of engine work and gymnastic skills. I caught up with 10-time CrossFit Games athlete, affiliate owner, and programmer of DCC, Scott Panchik, to talk more about programming Workout 4. Yeah. And just in case the judge didn't notice, we'll do it one more time. Okay, here we go. And 3, 2, 1. We're back here with Scott after day 1. How did it feel seeing your workouts in action?
It's been great to see them come to life. You know, you visualize these things at home and you're trying to think about the environment and the equipment that you have and the athletes that are taking the floor, and it's just, I don't know, there's something special about it. Starting
the day with Workout 4, what was the vision behind this and the different implements that you used?
Yeah, so that workout specifically, I wanted to try to find something that was a little bit of a longer time domain, and I wanted to tie together some machines where you would get to see some more powerful athletes, you know, hammering away on the machines. There's the big difference between a run on the runner versus being outside and having to carry that body weight. So you get to hammer away a little bit on the machines, but you also have to have the skills to get to hammer away. So if you don't have great rope climbing abilities or great toes to bar, you have to kind of play to those strengths or weaknesses and game the run a little bit based off of those abilities.
So is that the mindset? Because when you look at the time cap and the format, this one's pretty aggressive if you even want to get to the last run or finish it.
100%, and we knew it was aggressive time cap. We kind of looked at it and used the CrossFit Games where they finished on the Echo bike, or an old regional workout where we finished on the rower, and you see people like just gutting it out for every calorie and every meter. So we wanted to kind of carry that same thing over onto the runners. And with it being a run, it was really great because 1 meter, 5 meters, 10 meters would separate people, and it didn't have us in a tie situation very often.
And even speaking to running, and we can talk about it more tomorrow because that's when we'll see more, but yeah. Over the past couple years, it seems like running is becoming more and more important in the sport of CrossFit. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, running is something that we obviously do every day in our CrossFit gyms. It's something that's very difficult to test online, to keep you in camera, and it's usually like some type of shuttle run. So when we get into competition, we want to make sure that we get to check that box. This year, I decided to put 2 runs in, one of them being on a runner, tying it in with a gymnastics movement, and then I wanted to run with a weightlifting component as well. So, you know, traditionally your larger, more powerful athletes are going to be great on the machines, maybe not always the case on the gymnastics. So the little something in there for everybody, and then when you go outside, that larger athlete doesn't have the power to put into the machine. They have to carry that body weight for the course of the 1 mile run. And then you look at the back squats, traditionally a larger athlete is, you know, weight moves weight.
So then looking at this one starting off day 2, what kind of strategies do you foresee from these elites?
Yeah, so I would say strategy-wise, you got to look at your toes to bar and rope climbing abilities. And if you feel those are proficient, then you got to put the hammer down on the machines.
Okay, well, Scott, we'll catch up with you in a bit to take a look at the rest of the programming for the weekend.
Yes, can't wait.
Event 4 is brought to you by Sinewy, a brand dedicated to those who push their limits and embrace the power of resilience, strength, and grit. Their gear is designed to stand up to your toughest workout. Today, Sinewy is offering an exclusive 25% discount on all pre-ordered bags. So if you're looking for gear that's as tough as you, visit their booth at Desert City Classic. For those who love a challenge, they have a Wheel of Death competition where you could win some Sinewy merch. Whether you're lifting, competing, or just pushing yourself, Sinewy has everything you need to keep you strong. As the elite men took the floor, I hope your head was on a swivel because it would need to be in order to keep up with these races. Brandon Smith and semifinalist and reigning DCC champ CJ Gerald giving us deja vu from yesterday's snatch event, going back and forth for the lead. These two were your leaders all the way through the first set of toes to bar when Team Games athlete John Wood joined the mix. But remember yesterday when two-time semifinalist Matt Krieg won the pool event? He's also a bit of a powerhouse on the Echo Bike, gaining time on at least 3 athletes to take the lead as the first athlete to get to the second set of toes to bar. It was then a race between Krieg and Smith for the rest of the workout for a result that would separate these men by just 7 seconds, favoring Krieg to take his second event win. Overall leaderboard after 4 events. It's a race between your top 4 with them separated by just 20 points. John Wood now takes the top spot with Max Krieg in second, Brandon Smith in third, and CJ Gerald sitting in fourth. It was a battle between the Games athletes, and to determine who would take the event win came down to which athlete wanted to hurt more. Team Games athlete Hannah Black is known for her strength, but not an athlete typically chosen to be the front runner in a running intense workout. As for individual Games athlete Hattie Canyo, we know she does well with running and endurance after her finishes this year at the semifinals. Black was first off the runner and to go to those rope climbs with Canyo right on her heels. Black would be first to make it back to the runner, but this is where Canyo gained some ground as both women got off the run at the exact same time, advancing to their toes to bar. As one would drop, the other would drop in a competition game of ping pong between the two. The back and forth continued between Black and Canyo, continuing all the way until that final 400-meter run. But it was ultimately Canyo pushing the pace, finishing 365 meters at the time cap, edging out Black. Bella Martin caught up with her once she crossed the finish line.
And congratulations, an event win to start off day 2 of competition. You said you love running, so I'm thinking this one was a little bit tough if we're trying to find our words here. What was the hardest part? Is it going against Hannah on the runners? Is it the ropes? Or just everything with this dry desert air coming together?
I think a little bit of all of it, but yeah, the run, when she got off first, I was like, okay, you just gotta hold your pace and try to stick with her.
And then I caught up with her coach, Tristan Patrick, after the event. Tristan, earlier today we saw Hattie win an event going back to back between her and Hannah. As a coach, what is that like for you watching that race?
Nerve-wracking. I felt good about Hattie's running in an event like that, and it's a long event. It's hard to not come out too hot on the runs. So it's totally like stay calm. Like the front half of the workout is not irrelevant, but really doesn't matter. It's all about being able to keep composed on the back, you know, the bike, and then the toe to bar, and then the last 2 runs on the rope. So she's really good about pacing too. So just kind of put her mind at ease with that and was like, hey, just stay in your lane, do your thing. You're a good runner. You'll be all right.
Were there any points of that workout that you wanted her to game it and pace it off of whoever's around her? Or was it really about staying in her own lane and just running her own race?
That one, staying in her own lane. 100%, especially because we were on the runners, so you don't really know where anybody's at on the run, so it doesn't do any good to like look at somebody like, I think they're running ahead of me, I don't know. So for that one it was like, hey, just trust your fitness, trust your abilities in these movements, be smart through the first half, and then stay smooth.
What are some of those learning experiences that the two of you have been working on since her rookie year at the CrossFit Games? We saw her first, and now we're in the off season.
Yeah, just exposing her to different things where she can kind of test her limits. I tell all my athletes, so you got to break some eggs to make an omelet. And in training, I want them to fail. I want them to go out a little too hot. I want them to bite off too much of something and things like that. So we can learn from that, and then we'll come back and do something similar or slightly different where we try to pace a little bit better so we can kind of find that perfect approach for something. But she's such a confident runner and a good runner that in a running event with a mile of running, it made it pretty easy.
We are now just about done with day 2 of competition. What has that feedback and those data points that you're already kind of making notes for yourself to get back to training after this?
Some things that we kind of already knew. There's some things I want her to be able to do more of, even though she's already capable in those things compared to the field. I want to develop some things that are kind of home run hitters. Hattie's very well rounded, and that's obviously super important, but I want to really take some things that I see the potential for her to be unbeatable in, or top 1 or 2 at the games in, and try to develop that stuff.
And what is that goal for this weekend?
Oh, for this weekend? The goal for this weekend? I just want her to do her best. Like off-season competition, she's had a lot of travel lately. I want her to enjoy the experience, enjoy seeing some friends and some athletes and that she doesn't get to see all the time, and just go out, do her thing, have fun.
Okay, but then what goal did you think I was going to ask?
I thought you were going to ask what things I want to make her like top 1 or 2 possible at the games at, and I was like, I'm not going to say that.
Close to your chest.
Yeah, I don't like to kind of spill the beans on stuff like that. Like, I think it's nice for the athletes to also know that they're working on some things in silence.
Okay, good luck in the rest of the weekend.
Thank you so much.
The women also have a battle with the top 4, only separated by 24 points. Hattie Canio now holds the top spot with Hannah Black close behind, followed by Zoe Warren and Madison McElhaney. As we continue to follow the elite races and hundreds of athletes competing and telling their stories, there is one story in particular that we want to tell happening off the competition floor. 32-year-old Holly Myers with Majestic CrossFit is competing her own battle. After having a brain tumor removed in 2010, she recently developed a second tumor, which she had removed just 3.5 weeks ago. She was here today for just a few hours, and I was able to sit down with her to talk more about her story. I am joined now with Holly Myers, such an inspirational story. I'm so happy that you have a few moments to sit down and chat with us today. How are you feeling today?
So far, so good. I'm having a good morning.
Let's go back and kind of talk about your journey. You were going to be here this weekend. Let's talk about your nameplate around your neck right now. You were going to compete and be an athlete.
Yeah, I was supposed to compete in the RX individual, did the qualifiers, and yeah, unfortunately I'm not.
And talking to that, back in 2010, you had brain surgery for a tumor.
Yes, yes.
What has brought you up to the point that you're at now and ultimately not being able to compete this weekend?
Yeah, so in 2010 I had a surgery for a benign brain tumor. This kind of tumor is not supposed to regrow, but I won the lottery, so of course mine did, along with a cyst in my brain. Found this out in September and had my surgery again October 15th, so it's been about 3.5 weeks, and I'm still working up to being able to walk, and go up and down stairs is still difficult, so I'm only a spectator for this weekend.
So while you were training for Desert City Classic, you actually qualified while you had the brain tumor?
Yes, so I had started to have some dizzy symptoms, but it actually was during the qualifier where I really kind of stepped back and was like, oh, this isn't normal. Because during one of the events, I was really, really dizzy, and at a certain point, I couldn't even see anymore. And it was like 112 degrees or like 118 degrees that day, so it was so easy to be like, oh, this is just heat exhaustion or something. But in talking to other competitors, they're like, that didn't happen to me, and I just did it 5 minutes ago. And then that kind of made me think, I should probably pay attention to this. Yeah.
But you're here today just for a few hours. You're part of the affiliate CrossFit Majestic, who's in the VIP area because they have so many athletes competing this weekend, and they did something special for you. Can you tell me what happened? Did you know about it, and what has that experience been like?
Yeah, I had no idea about this, but they all coordinated hanging a sign in my honor along with the business that my husband and I are opening. So it's called Stella's Ice Cream, and it is a small franchise out of Idaho, but we're bringing it here to the Phoenix, Gilbert area. And so yeah, they put that together, signed it all, and it was just kind of special to see that, because my husband said, oh, we have a surprise for you. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he brings me over to the sign, and I'm like, I start tearing up the chorus. I'm like, it was really nice. Yeah.
Going through something that is probably the most life-changing thing that you've encountered in your life, but having a CrossFit community that is still able to add joy and still, bring you. You were in New Jersey for brain surgery 3.5 weeks ago up until now, and you're coming here just for a few hours to support them. What does it mean to be part of a community like that still gives you things to be happy about and that community aspect?
Yeah, it's an incredible community to lean on. And before I left for surgery, I didn't tell many people. And it kind of seeing that kind of made me realize I should have spoken up sooner. I could have and had that support even beforehand. Because coming back to this and seeing how many people just went up to me and gave me a hug, I'm so glad you're back, you're alive, you're good, you look great. For someone who just had brain surgery 3.5 weeks ago. But it's just having them give that little bit of support to me. It's I was going to come here whether I had that or not, because I wanted to be here. I wanted to see everyone compete. I know, who's been working on their running and who's been working on their lifting. And so to be able to see that in action is just, it's a great feeling.
When you're here, having that community, really be part of a family, is that something that you think is unique to CrossFit? Do you have other groups like family support? What is that dynamic like?
Not necessarily unique to CrossFit, but I think it's something you always find in CrossFit. I do a program called Misfits Athletic, and it was the same thing. I actually went to the Misfits camp right before surgery, and the coaches were like, "I'm sorry, you're having brain surgery in 2 days." It was the same thing. There was so much support, and a lot of these people are people that I've never met before. So to have that support there, I see it in both of my CrossFit communities, in the programming I do and in the gym that I'm at. And so I think you may find that elsewhere, but you'll always find it in CrossFit.
Knowing that you had surgery just 3.5 weeks ago, you're sitting here right now. I mean, from the outside looking in, I would have no idea. Do you realize that you probably are an inspiration to people, and you are somebody who people can look at and be like, if Holly can do it, I can. Do you get any of that?
Yeah, I never really think of myself that way. And you're right, without saying anything, the only indication would be that I have a giant scar running up, from the base of my skull to the top of my head. But I think it's something that I want to start thinking about more, because I look up to some people and I'm like, if they can do it, I can do it, or they tried, I want to try too. So to be able to be that for someone else and help them start CrossFit or reach that muscle up or whatever it is, again, I think that's something else it's a good feeling. And so I would like to pass that on.
And going through, the ultimate adversity, you're still showing up here, you're still running a business right now. Tell me more about the ice cream company. What is it called again?
Stella's.
Yes. Love it. What was the inspiration to start an ice cream business?
So I was looking for a business to buy. I've had a few failed businesses before. And so what really, brought me along to the idea of a franchise is getting, a little bit more of that help and in some senses that community. And so we bought the rights to Stella's to bring to Phoenix in preparation for my husband retiring from the military, because we weren't sure, what the job market would look like for him. Now it's kind of looking like maybe this is a really good idea, because we don't know what working is going to look like for me. And so we saw Stella's, we saw the marketing, we tasted the ice cream, and we were like, oh yeah, this is a great business all around. Yeah.
What's next for you?
Getting back to full capacity, hopefully being able to do a little bit more every day, opening Stella's, that'll hopefully be coming in winter, sometime January, February, and taking it day by day and appreciating the little things, I think. Yeah.
Holly, thank you so much for being here with us. Again, you're truly an inspiration for everybody that sees and hears about your story, and I wish you all of the health and the kindness from the community that you have around you.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Getting back to the elite competition, Workout 5 was on the Big Ass Fan stage for a classic CrossFit style workout. Programmer Scott Panchik told us what his inspiration was for this one. We're back with Scott looking at Workout 5. To me, this one seems like DT with a twist. Is that what you were thinking when you programmed it?
It is Veterans Day weekend, and we wanted to put in something that had a little bit of a hero vibe to it. And you look at CrossFit, constantly varied functional movements performed at high intensity, right? So constantly varied. We wanted to just change the, push jerk or the shoulder to overhead movement that you see in DT to something of similar weight to the barbell weight. So if you look, the weight for the elites was 185 and 135, and You know, in years past, that used to be about the weight of the athletes, that we're starting to see some bigger, stronger athletes coming. And then I felt like going strict and getting them inverted, it gave them the opportunity to get upside down, test a little gymnastics in there. And by going backwards, it allows you to really attack the barbell, making this a fast workout.
And even speaking to not just the weight and the body structure of the athletes, but the weight on the barbell. Over the past couple of years, we've seen the women's weights going up, but the men's has kind of stayed the same. Why do you think that is?
Because our women are getting strong. Yeah, it's definitely something that I've observed over time, that our women in the space are getting stronger, and our men, man, we gotta go. We gotta crank it up a little bit. But it's been cool to see that, and I'm really interested to see, you know, in the next 5 or 10 years what it looks like.
Speaking to the handstand push-up, the wall-facing handstand push-up element, is that something where you think we'll see most athletes go unbroken, or pushing to that 5th round, are we going to see some nuclear eruptions happening?
Yes. Again, I think the workout speed is going to be determined on your handstand push-up capabilities. That definitely will be the limiting factor, I think, for a lot of people. But your most elite, your like top 10 guys and gals, I think, are going to blow through that. And then it's really just a race of like moving the barbell, transitions, you know, who's going to kick up and take that chance to get up on it sooner. I do think in rounds 4 and 5, it starts to wear on some of the athletes. And that's where I think things will start to get interesting and really fun to watch.
Okay, thanks, Scott. Can't wait to see what happens.
Let's do it.
Event 5 is brought to you by Go Supplements. Go Supplements is your go-to partner in achieving your peak performance, fueling athletes of all levels with premium clean ingredients designed to optimize strength, recovery, and endurance. Backed by athletes like 10-time CrossFit Games athlete Scott Panchik, Go Supplements is trusted by top affiliates and fitness enthusiasts, ensuring that you're getting exactly what your body needs to fuel without any unnecessary fillers. From pre-workout energies to post-workout recovery, they are pushing the boundaries to help you reach your goals. Elevate your performance and fuel your passion with Go Supplements. The final event of the day, a beautiful marriage of 5 rounds of classic CrossFit. The lanes were tight and room for error was small, but it didn't take long for the event winner to pull ahead from the field and never look back. CJ Gerald had an early lead, and with every round, the lead got bigger. He finished the event in exactly 5 minutes flat, casually walking towards the finish line, finishing almost 45 seconds as the next best athlete didn't finish until nearly 45 seconds later. Bella caught up with Gerald and his furry friend, Holly.
Your first round was in 45 seconds. You were holding pretty much a consistent pace throughout all of the rounds. Is that what you were expecting? You just went out for it and full on took control of the game right out of the gate.
I just know I needed to win, and so I started hot, I to stay hot and hot, so hopefully it worked out.
At the close of day 2, John Wood still leading, but that gap has narrowed, with Max Krieg and CJ Gerald both tied for second, only 12 points behind Wood. Going into the last day, it truly could be any of the order between these men that we could potentially see on the podium. The elite women with a bit of a less predictable event 5, semifinalist Elia Miller had a strong lead early on with fast and consistent transitions. It seemed as if she would take the event win right up until the end of round 4 when her and semifinalist Zoe Warren moved their final chess piece at the exact same time. As they both kicked up for the final set of wall-facing handstand push-ups, Miller went for it to continue going unbroken, but had to kick down, giving Warren the window she needed to pull ahead and gain the win, going the only athlete sub-5 among the men and the women. She chatted with Bella Martin after her win.
Zoe, what an amazing performance, nearly 3 minutes faster than the previous heat time. On paper, this workout looked very good for you. You had a flawless performance. Was that what you were expecting, to completely run away from the
No, but 2 great things for me. Cracking deadlifts, pancakes level, and push-ups level, so just went with it.
You just went with it. You had Ellen Miller right next to you until that final round. and then it was those handstand push-ups on the wall. Did your mind shift and you thought, okay, here's where I gotta hit the kill switch? Or what's going through your mind? Or were you really just looking at your own?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely saw her, but pushed hard from the beginning, stayed hard, and tried to finish hard, I guess.
Overall leaders for the women still have a tie for first, but now it's between Zoe Warren and Hattie Canyo. Hannah Black then bumped down to third, sitting 24 points behind, with Madison Michelini still in the mix, just 8 points behind Black. With just one more day of competition and 200 points on the line, elites will be back here tomorrow morning, starting the day outside on the field. From Tempe, Arizona, I'm Lauren Khalil, and we'll see you back here for the Desert City Cool Down.